Hello, it's Hatfield McCoy Museum in Liberty, Kentucky with Fred and Sheila McCoy. You can go to fredmccoy.com or hatfieldsmccoysmuseum.com. Both of them get you to the same place. At the top of the page, one of them is for fredmccoy.com, where there's books and some history on there, and then you go to the top page and click the other one for the Hatfield McCoy Museum. This topic we're going to be on today is keeping it real. And I seen a YouTube video the other day. Like I said, they just keep these YouTube videos coming, and it just gives us material that you can correct. May seem like a complaining all the time, but really not. I'm trying to correct history, or we are. I do most of the talking, but we're trying to correct history. Sheila's not a controversial person, so I have to do the controversial part. That's never bothered me. Now, if you don't like controversy and you'd rather listen to smooth talking people that can sell a pair of sunglasses to a blind man, then that's probably not me. For some reason, it's all in your demeanor and how you talk, and it seems like more people watches these videos or listens to these people as the truth, and that's not necessarily true. Anyway, I was watching a YouTube video, and this guy was talking about he done the typing, he let the computer do the talking for him, and he says he shows 2 or 3 pictures there of the feud, and then he says, here's a picture of Jim Vance. And he actually shows a picture of Asa Harmon McCoy Jr., which was Bud McCoy, shows a picture of him. And forevermore, for people that don't know the feud or the history, it may seem minor to somebody, but to us, it's serious, because they see this picture of Bud McCoy, Asa Harmon McCoy's son, the first guy killed in 1865, that really is what the feud started over, the beginning of it. And they see that and they think this guy's Jim Vance, and it's not. So that's one correction to that video. A second correction that he had on his video was, he said that even though Alifair and Calvin McCoy were killed at the cabin that night, that they were just accidentally caught in the crossfire and it wasn't meant to be killed. And I say hogwash. That's laughable, and that's why we're correcting history here and keeping it real, because when they left to go there from Devil Anses, the plan was to kill them all, let God sort them out. They just wanted rid of all the witnesses. Remember, Sarah McCoy was a witness. Sarah McCoy, in her testimony later on, she says that Wall Hatfield was there, and Wall Hatfield was going to kill the boys and so forth. So Sarah was a witness, Rosanna, all of them, especially Randall. So when they say that they went there to that they was just caught in crossfire, that's incorrect. They went there to kill the whole family. That's it, plain and simple. That's always been the story, that's always been the history, and anything you hear less than that is incorrect. We've done several videos on it, but what happened there, and it's funny because we're going to do another video after a while that's probably going to cover it because it's from a historian, and but he talks about it, and it's just not the way that things happen. The warrant that Simon Buckner sent to West Virginia Governor Willis Wilson is what caused them to come up with this plan that we're going to have to kill the whole family if we're going to get out of this. And that's what they were going to do. So anyway, and the second thing, Randolph fled and escaped into the woods. Now, I don't know, I guess this is like a tit for tat, because ever since it's came out years ago about Devil Anse deserting and his Civil War records were found, and it says that he entered the Civil War in the fall 1862. And then the desertion papers that are with him were signed in February of 63. Now that doesn't mean that he just deserted in February. He could have deserted in October, November, December, January. It was just that's when they filed the report. And it's according to how busy they were during the war, whether the scribe had time enough to go through and fill all these forms out and do all this paperwork on who deserted and who's dead and who's captured and so forth. But he went in the fall of 62, and he deserted him. The records are in February of 63. So, like we say, barely there long enough to get a uniform. But Randall McCoy escaping. Here's one of our boards on the wall, and we've gone over this board before, and I'm just gonna, it's a newspaper article dated the 9th of January 1888, and it's the Wheeling Daily Intelligence. And you know, you can look this up yourself in newspaper archives, and the title of it was a story, a terrible story of a family feud and murder. And if you'll read down through the story, it says Randall McCoy escaped from the burning house with his shotgun, and although a volley was discharged at him, he escaped unhurt and opened fire upon the attacking party. Now, that's when he shot John C. Hatfield in the shoulder. And but what everybody has done is taken that story, I guess you could say, out of context. They used the first line, Randall McCoy escaped, and then they leave the rest of the story off. Because the rest of the story says that he escaped without injury, but he unloaded both barrels of his shotgun and injuring another one of the desperados, which was 3 that he had shot. He'd shot Cap, Chauncey, and wounded both of them, and then he shot Tom Chambers on the roof of the house when he was setting fire to it. So he shot 3 that day. And so that's just another video of somebody making a video on YouTube about the Hatfields and McCoys. They don't use their own face, they don't use their own voice, they let the computer type it. So more than likely it's a West Virginia Hatfield descendant of Devil Ance's. And that's how stories and history's been distorted. And I mean, believe what you want, but don't believe that we won't be correcting it as you tell it. So the truth's going to be out there eventually. When we start releasing these videos, the truth will be there. And it's up to each individual whether they want to believe it or not. We give you the newspaper articles, the date, we give you the court records, Civil War records, and something to go on, rather than just making a video there and saying, hey, I heard that Devil Anse and Jim Vance were lovers. You know, that's comical, but that's what people are. You might as well say something like that, or on the other side of the McCoys. It doesn't matter, and that's what we've got going on. We've got all kinds of made-up stories. This is Fred and Sheila McCoy at the Hatfield McCoy Museum in Liberty, Kentucky, keeping it real. See you next time.